during Halloween. Maybe not apple pie, maybe a warm pumpkin pie.
The Mindbuzz Podcast.
This is MB63 on the Mindbuzz Podcast with Dejuan from Grown Man Logic. Coming up right now.
The Mindbuzz Podcast.
Dejuan, what's going on, man? How are you?
What's happening, man? This has been a long time coming.
We've been talking about this for a while, and this is actually take two. So the first one was exclusive. You'll probably find that on maybe like a hidden kind of treasure mystery thing that we might do in the future, or it may be a Patreon type of exclusive. But yeah, man, this is your second time coming on.
Hey, well, I think that when they finally do your documentary after you're too big for us little folks, then like you know what I'm saying, this will pop up in like the hidden gems.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. I can see that. But the same can go for you, actually, man. How are you doing?
Busy, man. God is good. Life is great. A lot of projects and stuff in the motion, man. So like I'm kind of like ripping and running like at the moment. You know what I mean? Ripping and running, trying to build, trying to secure, trying to execute like all of these things. So like I'm busy. I will never use the term tired because I'm not tired. Like I actually love like the hustle and bustle that goes along with like podcasting, marketing, and building a brand. So like I'm good. I'm a little taxed, but I'm not tired.
I know there was a couple of things that we're gonna jump into, but I kind of want to go into what you just said about staying busy and not saying that you're tired and all that good stuff. So usually when people or they tell me or throw the word busy around, I like to think about because there's two things. You can be busy, right? But you can also be productive. And
Mm.
I'm not saying that like it not many people understand that, but when I think about being busy, I mean, you can be busy just, running around trying to keep yourself busy. But during your busyness, are you getting anything done?
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, yeah, I'm actually getting a lot done, but I feel like that, like one of the keys to success is that, you have to kind of compartmentalize, right, and focus on one thing at a time. It doesn't make you any less busy, and it doesn't take things off of your radar or off of your plate. But I have a vision board. Okay, here's what I want to accomplish this week, right? And as you're checking out the task, you're still, you still got the dad thing going. You still have the day job thing going. You still have, all of these other things. But when it comes to like building a brand, yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Productivity is completely different from being busy because you can, like you said, you can be busy doing nothing. But so yeah, let me rephrase then. I'm taxed yet productive.
Oh, I like it. Tax yet productive. That's sweet,
Yeah.
man. I love all these different sayings that you come up with during your podcast and on the YouTube channel. Uh, I haven't yet finished your G series, but I'm halfway through, and I even in the chat that you and I have going on, I mentioned you, dude. You have to get this on audio. Like I get it. YouTube is the one thing, right? But I mean, sometimes I can't. We can't open up our YouTube, and sometimes audio. But what I'm saying is, your content in the G series is it's on point. It's immaculate. There's some knowledge that somebody could learn, or a man can learn in that series, but it's also uplifting. And and once you dissect all your G's in there, um, and you use that and cultivate it and use it to your best, ability, then it's just awesome. I mean, I'm so glad that you put that out there.
Thank you so much. So actually, you're not behind. I've these videos are coming out every Wednesday and Sunday. So you're not behind. It's seven. We just released number 4, I think it was, on Sunday. And we were talking about giving, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we're talking about giving. So like this the series came because there's a saying in the hood, man, keep it G, keep it a buck, keep it 100, this, that, and the third, right? And like these things are okay, cool. Well, how can you turn that and actually use it to like reach back and try and grab somebody that may or may not be at your level. Like some of these things are things that doing the research, like I took for granted. I kind of thought they were common knowledge, but the more that I see like social media, the more that people inbox me for life coaching advice and tips and things of that nature. Like I'm beginning to understand that these things are not as common as I once naively thought. So we decided to put it together, put a collection in. Once they're all like released, they're gonna come out as a box set actually on Apple Music, the G Series Conversation, and it's going to subsequently be a book. Which so the G Series that you see on YouTube and the G Series that you're gonna hear, you're not gonna get the challenges and stuff like that. So like I actually throw my life coaching hat on inside of the book, and I issue challenges to people. Okay, for the next 7 days do this, for the next 10 days do this, for the next, to actually implement the lesson that's being taught throughout the chapter.
Gotcha. Okay, so that explains why they're not on audio yet. Okay, so perfect, because yeah, that's a grab right there. I mean, that's a good, pretty good tactic if you asked me. I don't know, but you mentioned, we will go through that in a minute. But there's some other, we will go through Dejuan's G series in a minute, and a couple of other things that we talked about. But first, uh, Dejuan, from Grown Man Logic, like I said earlier in the podcast, Grown Man Logic is pretty much, uh, it's you, it's Kendra from Coffee with Kendra, and Eric from Uncomfortable Conversations, two of which have already been on the Mind Buzz, and you can catch those at the links down in the show notes. But basically, Grown Man Logic discusses the things that aim to build better people through accountability and critical thinking. So he hits hard hitting, and controversial conversations. So,
Well, yeah, man, I think that, but see, that's the thing. In order to build a better person, we first have to take accountability for where we are and our shortcomings, right? And us on the platform are not exempt. For those of you guys that catch us on Instagram Live, like we argue amongst each other all the time and different viewpoints and things of that nature. But I think that at the root of it all, you have three very grounded, solid individuals that have reached some measure of success inside of their life, be it podcasting or not. But before linking up with Eric and Kendra, I was a fan of Coffee with Kendra. I was a fan of the Uncomfortable Conversation. So I kind of when the mix, it was actually Carla that I like put it all together, and I was against podcasting, and I was like, I don't have time for it. Like I
yeah.
have seriously, I was like, I don't have time for that. Like
Yeah.
you have to edit, you have to. There's so much stuff. I fell in love with podcasts now, where I prefer that over the common radio, and with my co-host, like I fell in love with their shows, the content and the different elements that they're able to bring. So now the challenge every week, not necessarily the challenge, but the fun that you get to play kind of like Puppet Master. You get to play Geppetto, with the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, okay, how can we make this uncomfortable? Okay, how can we bring you know the smoke that Kendra's going to bring with that? How can we bring that out? And that's where you come up with the interesting questions. And I think that we really have like a recipe for success over there with the three different perspectives.
You got your formula, and whatever that formula is, you better write it down, lock it up, because it's working. It's working. When I see the little live kind of button icon that you guys have on, I pop in just for a few sometimes. Uh, I'm just looking, and I think it was last week that I popped in, and I popped it at the wrong
Yep.
at the right time for you guys, but at the wrong time for me because I was watching a Dodger game down the street from my house, having a couple drinks, and it was loud, and I popped in for a little bit. I was trying to hear what you guys were talking about because it seemed like it was a very good, very active conversation between you and Kendra. And Eric would pop in just for a little bit, but I wasn't on there too long. But you can catch Grown Man Logic's lives. What days do you actually do that?
We're live Monday night at 9 p.m. and Thursday night at 9 p.m. as well. Yeah. So the conversation that you jumped in on, I think we were actually talking about President Biden
Oh,
and
okay.
how like he like outright lied and manipulated like his way into the White House. And we the question that we posed in the comments was simply like, hey, look, do you prefer to be lied to and stabbed in the back, or do you rather be told the truth and stabbed anyway, right? And
Uh-huh.
because you get the Trump versus Biden comparison, right? Like there's
Yeah.
no secret that Trump's an asshole, and potentially a bigot, right? But but Biden is like literally no different. So Kendra and I were because Kendra's from California, for those of y'all who don't know, and she was around or a baby at the time of Vice President Harris's reign as AG over the state of California. I mean, as were you. I'm pretty sure you were around for that. And she's locked up like more black people
Yeah.
than the last like 4 or 5 presidents combined, right? So at that point, how do you then turn around and ask for the hand of the same people that you were locking up because you wouldn't allow them to smoke weed,
Yeah.
right? So we kind of got into it. Yeah, you popped in. We saw you. Thank you for popping in, man.
Yeah.
Everybody that pops in and visits us, man, like, greatly appreciate it. We're humbled. Like I said, I was completely against podcasting from the beginning, and my co-host had other shows and stuff going on,
Yeah.
man. So like, it's still kind of surreal that that Grown Man Logic is kind of like we have a fan base and we're kind of like taking off now. It's still kind of surreal to me. So we're grateful for everybody that pops in on us and leaves their thoughts and comments.
No, okay, so adding to Kamala Harris. I won't stay too much on this subject because we got some other stuff that's going on, but I was not after her, but in certain I guess aspects of politics, I was after Kamala Harris. I was after her because I think it was around the time where it was right before the elections. They were talking about
Mm.
where the different candidates, and back then it was Donald Trump and uh, now President Joe Biden, right? They were up, and the question that I was posing was, where were they getting their campaign money from? Obviously, Donald Trump was he had his suppliers, right? But I
Right.
wasn't, and it was around the time where a lot of companies were being canceled because they were funding his presidential campaign. So
Okay.
I'm from a huge food and beverage background. Different restaurants, different food chains, different suppliers, right? So A lot of people, they were canceling these different food and beverage companies because a lot of them were giving money to Donald Trump. But then some, that was the only focus. The focus was on Donald Trump's money, where he was getting money funneled to him for his campaign. But my focus was a little bit more on Biden because nobody was actually really looking at where Biden was getting his
Right.
money, right? So
Right.
there were two. There was a lot of them. There was a lot of banks involved in his campaign. So there was one, and then also when I found out that Kamala Harris was she was a lot of food and beverage companies like PepsiCo and all the other big food and beverage conglomerates that pretty much run and operate a lot of different uh, different restaurants, fast food joints that we use today. So they were funneling money to Kamala Harris, right? But I think she was like the most paid. You Google this. Anybody that's taking part in this, you can actually Google this, and she was the most. She was the most, I guess, senator that got a lot of money from all these different food and beverage companies that were supplying her, and
Yeah.
just like what you were talking about, how as as another when she was in the California government, uh being part of, and this is a collective thing. It's not just Kamala Harris or the Democratic Party or Republican Party. The mass incarceration of people of color has been happening for 50, 60 years now. But
Yes.
she was the earliest and probably most modern person that we can point a finger to on that, if we want to go that route.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like again, like you said, not to spend too much time on it. Like, you know what I mean? I'm For those of you who don't know, I'm active duty military. That is the day job that I speak of, right? Um, I'm not about like a bashing campaign, but like there's nothing saying that I can't speak the facts, right? And I find it interesting who supported the ads and the super PACs that were formed to support that ticket. I find that interesting, and I find it also interesting that Kamala Harris locked up people based off of a bill that Joe Biden wrote, sponsored, and argued for back in 1994. I find that extremely interesting, and the same people that they basically screwed over in terms of voting rights, mass incarceration, things of that nature. I find that interesting that these are the same people now that you're asking for the help, you're asking for the support, you're asking for the vote. I just found it hypocritical. So when we went and had the conversation on Grown Man Logic, I went and pulled the stats and was like, hey, look, this is bullshit. Like everybody was saying, I'm sorry. I'll keep it PG. My bad.
No, you can keep it
I was
R
like,
rated. You can keep it X rated for keep the rhythm going on YouTube. But no, go ahead, man. Speak your mind.
no,
This is why we're
I,
here.
no, bro, I was just saying, I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, because how do you prey on people and then have these same people pray with you? You know what I'm saying? PREY versus PRAY, right? Like, and that's what happened. So I went and pulled the stats, man, and I think that what a lot of people will find shockingly is that before COVID-19, Trump was actually statistically the best president we've ever had, right? And Biden has yet to deliver on anything that he said. He continued to build under Trump's wall. He continued the immigration stance. His foreign policy is a mess, so on and so forth. We can talk about that. So like I really wanted to ask the question, mainly to the community, the minority community, like, hey, look, do you guys still think that we're good in the hands of this guy?
Yeah, and it's so crazy. Like right now in the time that we're in, just in history alone. especially with the president that we
Yeah.
have, the ex-presidents uh, that we've had, from every walk, from every aspect of life. This time is incredible. Like it's different. I don't know. But I mean, is there anything? How would we compare that to the past couple of months? We can't because time is only moving forward, and it's just getting wild and wild and wilder every day.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. I think that you're gonna have what you're gonna see is before the end of our lifetime, you're gonna see COVID-19 brought a different era, right? You're gonna see a pre-pandemic era and post-pandemic era, right? And I feel like that this country and the world will never be the same again, based off of like what happened with COVID-19. If you look at studies, more small businesses are attempting to open now. People are thinking more independently because they figured out that you don't have to buy into this 40-hour work week. Like it's shit. Because you're basically only going to make money for someone else, and someone is higher than them and higher than them and higher than them. So I think what you're finding now is that a lot of people are opening LLCs, or a lot of people are trying to get uh, what do you call it, EINs and LLCs, and open small businesses to work for themselves. But it's interesting how it's probably going to shake out. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 years from now, I'd like to revisit like, these conversations to see how they panned out, because with with the ingenuity and the information being available and the licenses and things of that nature, like I'm curious to see what people actually do. Are they going to be followed through? My guess is that we're going to return back to some kind of norm, because there's always been two types of people in this world. We have the people that make shit happen, and we have the people that shit happens to, and that's it.
Yeah, I see that. See, dude, you're dropping all these gems. I'm glad that I have Dwan on here because can you repeat the last couple of sentences that you just said, man? That was beautiful. I loved it.
No, I just think that eventually, like the cycle is going to repeat itself, because you have people that make shit happen, right? And those are the people that rise to the top, and you have people that shit happens to, which is everyone else pretty much. So it doesn't basically, essentially, it doesn't matter the steps that you take if there's no follow through, if there's no intellect, there's no plan. You just know that you don't like working a 40-hour work week. If that's your motivation, you're going to continue to be a person that shit happens to. You're either one of those two people. You either make it happen, or it's going to happen to you,
Yeah,
and
there's
that's it.
there's definitely a threshold and a boundary that where people down at the bottom that you just expressed right now. There's a tipping point. There's a threshold to where I don't want shit to happen to me anymore. I want to take control of my own
Yeah.
life. I want to take control over my financial stability. I want to take control over what I put in my body, what I eat and what I drink, and what I don't eat and what I don't drink, and what I can smoke and what I can't smoke, and what I can be dosed with and what I can't be dosed with. There's a tipping point
Oof.
to all those uh, aspects of life. So of course there's going to be a moment in time where that thing is going to shift. And a thing that I heard, since we're dropping gems, I have one for you too, and for everybody else, is sometimes the shift. Wait, hold on. I fucked that one up, but hold on. It's called sometimes a shit. Oh, there we go. I got it. I got it. Okay.
Get it
You
back.
ready?
Get it back.
You ready for this? So
Yeah, let's
sometimes
do it.
sometimes the shit needs to happen before the shift can happen. There we go.
Mm, that's
So
a bar.
so in turn, the what I think about that is sometimes shit needs to hit the fan before we kind of sit back and realize and say, "Holy shit, I'm at the bottom. I want to be at the top. I want to be greater than what my life is currently at." Right? There's a point
Yeah.
in time where some people they think about that and they don't know how to get there. And I think that's the tough
Yeah.
part. That's the one.
That,
It's one thing to acknowledge that and to see that that can be an issue, but now your next step is okay. So first of all, you've seen that there's something going on. There's something you don't know if it's wrong or if it's right or anything, but you know that there's something going on. Now the next step is to acknowledge it and acknowledge that
right.
something needs to happen. But then the next part is where some get stuck, and where I've been too is how do I how what's the next step for me? That's always a question, right? What can be the next step?
Right, but you have to be in charge of mapping that out, right? Like for the chess players that are going to hear this, right? Your first move is actually your third move, right? Because you think right, you think about your move, you think about the counter, and then you make the move, right? So life is really no different. There's a reason that chess is called the game of life, right? So your first move is really your third move, but here, and that's what I'm talking about inside of this G7 series, right? You have to be like goal oriented. You have to, that's one of the G's, goal oriented, right?
Yeah.
There should never be a time if you're gonna take control of your life and you're gonna grab life by the balls, right? And you're gonna make them yours. Right. There should never be a time when, you're clueless or speechless when someone asks you, okay, what's next? Right. There's a vision, there's a board, right? That you have to plan this out because, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right?
Ooh,
A
yeah.
goal,
Yeah.
a goal without a plan is just
Yeah.
a wish. So
And
even if you have to work,
and this too, another while we're on the subject, let me throw that. I'm sorry to interject here, but uh also the way I like to think about it is having a goal with no you know way how to get that goal, and if you don't have a goal, you're just working towards something that it's like jumping in a
yeah,
car without a destination. You're just driving through, you're just cruising,
just driving.
and you're
Yeah,
just
exactly.
driving, and you're running out of gas. You're depreciating your vehicle, which is you're
Exactly.
depreciating your vessel, which is your
Yep.
mind and body, and you're just cruising along. Okay, no oil change, just gassing up here and there, putting the $5 on there, not treating your car well, not going to get oil change. Some people, we got to think about our brains and the health of our brains
Yep.
as an entity, as a muscle that we need to always uh like kind of like gears that need to be greased up
Yeah.
sometimes.
You
I'm sorry to
got to work
cut
it
you
out,
off,
man.
but that was
No,
I had that thought.
No, that is an amazing thought, and that's right on par. Exactly, that's exactly the mentality that people got to have, man. You have to, work backwards. Okay, cool. Where do I want to be? Okay, what's it gonna take for me to get there? Okay, what's it gonna take for me to get there? And what's it gonna take for me to get there? And now you have that's your board. That's your board. Okay, so now, okay, cool. I can work this. I can check this off, and I can take this stuff out, and then it goes back to that productivity that we were talking about when we opened the show, right? And that's beautiful because that means that the universe allowed it to happen because it came full circle, right? And but a lot of people don't think like this, and that's why shows like Mindbuzz, that's why shows like Grown Man Logic, that's why shows like Salute to the great man Uncle Dolomite at Too Much Game. That's why these shows like exist, right? If you're looking for guidance, you don't know where to go. Take a look at a podcast, man. We're people, and we know a lot of shit about the area that we're kind of corned off to, but we know people that know people that know people, and a lot of therapists have been interviewed, a lot of nutritionalists have been interviewed, a lot of real estate guys, credit guys, whatever you need, you can find it inside of podcasting, and that's the beautiful thing about the kind of community and the world that we're ultimately building.
Yeah, and to add like that, thank you again about the mind buzz thing. That was uh you can always find gems about conversations when I have the different crew. When I have the crew from Grown Man Logic. Kendra, she brought the smoke. That episode was one of my favorites. I mean, not to single out just that one, but great conversation. Now, which threw me through a loop was Eric when he was on the podcast. So it was lighthearted. It was uncomfortable because there was a lot of content in there that we can and possibly maybe, but who knows? Nobody can cancel Mindbuzz, and only for that fact was because we're bringing it, just like we're bringing it right now. So Dejuan, your G series. Do you mind if I speak the G's, the four G's, right?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I mean, if you pay attention to the thumbnail, all seven are out. So please go ahead.
Oh, so there's seven. Okay, so I'll talk about the four, and you can give me
Okay.
and everyone else the last three. So this is
Okay.
part of the G series. So number one is being genuine. Number two, being gracious. Number three, being gallant, and number four, being giving or giving. And so hit me with the last three, man.
Goal oriented, good, and grateful.
Gotcha. Okay. Those are do you want if we have time, yeah, we have some time. Can you just briefly, because I don't want too much to go in this because I want people to hit that link at the show notes after this episode, of course. Go
Of
check them
course.
out. But
Of course.
so what is being genuine to you? And I want to talk about all these because these are perfect.
All right, I mean, let's get into it, man. So being genuine is just being yourself, being unapologetically yourself. You are. Diana Ross said, "Nobody can be me like me." Right, and so that's being genuine. That way, you're fostering, and creating an atmosphere where people know what they're going to get from you. They know if you're a no bullshit kind of person. They know if you're a silly person. They know what they're going to get from you. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be a little bit of all of that, but it creates a sense of dependability. Hey, look, I can go talk to Gil about anything like deep and metaphorical and universal, right? I can come talk to you about that because that's you. That's how you represented yourself, and you're comfortable in it, and you walk in it. So, being genuine is basically, okay. Look, I have an honest self inventory of emotion and intellect, and I'm not afraid to share it with the world.
Okay, so let me. I have a question to ask you about the last one. What do you think about people that withhold their intellect, that withhold their themselves? They withhold themselves because they don't have the confidence enough to be themselves. And some don't know that. I was like that for a long time.
I think that you are the only you, and you are created, and you are the way that you are for a reason. There's a purpose, right? There's a saying that I say on Twitter like all the time. It's wake up on purpose, right? Like wake up with something to do. Like wake up marching towards your purpose, or in terms of why you were created. If you don't believe in higher powers or what have you, but you still have a purpose. You serve a purpose on this earth, and you have to wake up and attack that daily. And you play a part, right? And even if your part on this earth is something as small as helping somebody through a bad situation because they're not as strong as you most emotionally, and you have a part to play, and you need to wake up and march towards that part at all times. So like, don't be afraid. And that's kind of where the galleon comes in, right? Like that's kind of where it comes in. Like, you got to be brave and heroic,
Yeah. Okay.
and just go be you.
Yeah. And majority of the time, you're not always going to be somebody's cup of tea because that's one thing that that has been found is that y- most don't want to be themselves because they feel that they won't. Not everybody is going to like you. Is what I'm trying to convey here is that you may not be liked by everyone. And one trick to think about is that, I mean, there's 7.3 billion people on this earth. You're not going to have everybody like you. And one thing that I always think about is that, I mean, you're the only you, and you're the only person that you have control over. You can't have control over somebody else's perception, or your. No, let me start this over. You you okay? So when you think about it, it's overthinking on yourself of what somebody else thinks of you. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
run through that real quick. You already have this
Well, yeah.
first. What was that?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Finish your
okay,
thought.
okay. So, trip me up there. No, but okay. So,
I'm sorry.
no worries. Okay, so when you think about that for a second, about, okay, nobody's gonna like me, what are they gonna think of me, right? Okay, so that's your first mistake right there, because if you pull yourself away from that, okay, so you're already thinking, which is one perspective of this universe, that there's thoughts are not tangible, that you can, thoughts just come in. And I was speaking about this to somebody else, or I like to think of thoughts as move your brain, your what you're picturing in your brain is as kind of like traffic, and each
Mm,
car and traffic that is moving is a thought, right? So if you just take yourself away from that and just picture that as just thoughts driving past your vision, I mean, some people like to hold all those cars, and you're building up that traffic because no new thoughts are coming in, and all the thoughts that you're thinking about are just, you're holding on to them, right? So
mm.
this overthinking of somebody that doesn't like you, you're already taking control of what somebody else is thinking, which is double psycho crazy, because
Right.
you're not only thinking about your thoughts, but you're thinking about somebody else's thoughts thinking about you, which is
Right.
nuts. And you're overreacting of something that hasn't even happened yet. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, the only way to ask, I mean, I don't know, like, it depending on what your personality is, on um, how you take somebody's, consideration of yourself. Like, if somebody else, taking you as in consideration, like, I don't know, man, it's a mind game.
I think it's one of those things where, like, I think you hit the nail right on the head, though. Like, it's kind of like the red light that never changes. Like, the traffic isn't going to go anywhere, because of the red light, right? And we've been conditioned to kind of like go when we're told to go, right? And this kind of me building upon like your example, right? Like, you're taught from the time you got your driver's license, hey, red means stop. So if the light never changes, do you never go? You can't be afraid to make the common sense decision, or the to say the thing that needs to be said, or to express the emotion that it needs to be expressed, because like you said, there's 7.3 different vantage points on this earth,
Yeah.
right? Even if you grow up in the same household with somebody, you have a different vantage point, because their experience is not 100% your experience. So if that's the case, then why are you concerned with what they think about you? Only you can be you, and only you have to look at yourself in the mirror. So why suppress yourself? You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a dishonor, and you're creating a mental health issue for yourself out of fear of what other people are going to think, and that's not fair. That's not You're not being fair to you.
Yeah, dude. Uh, I'm all about being fair to yourself and
You gotta be,
being
man.
being
You
genuine
have to
because
be.
it there I mean it when you're not yourself, I mean who are you? Like who are you going to be? You know, like of course
Right.
you can have people to look up to. You can have coaches. You can have people that are there to guide you to where you need to go. But it first starts off with you and how you want to
Yeah.
evolve and how you want to move forward in being yourself. And it and one more thing before we head on to being gracious is that it takes time. You're not gonna if you're walking around being somebody else or not being yourself, and you have conditioned your emotional state and your state of being, if you have conditioned it to think like that for 30 years, 25 years, whatever, how old you are
Yeah.
until you kept it, it's going to take some time to get over that because the conditioning has been is I don't want to be myself or whatever have you, whatever negative thing that you're thinking about and not being genuine, it's going to take some time. Like you've already like this is a theme of this podcast is that it's going to take some time and you have to look at what's going on. You have to be aware of what's going on and you have to be aware that you are not being yourself because some people can just throw on their bag of skin on their body and that's it you know
Yeah, knowledge of self is huge, huge. And I encourage everybody, man, to spend some time with yourself. Get to know you, because you can't teach other people how to treat you if you don't know how you like to be treated.
yeah yeah exactly yeah and no, that's perfect and so let's hop on to the second one, being gracious. Dwan, what is being gracious to you?
Gracious, it comes with forgiving. A lot of people hold grudges. A lot of people jump out here with petty acts, and they want to retweet, or repost DMs that they've gotten from a lot of people. But gracious mainly comes from forgiving, right? Forgiving yourself for things that you may or may not regret, right? A lot of people come in, no regrets, no regrets, but they go to sleep at night crying, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that."
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, you're one decision away from a completely different life at all times, right? So we have to take accountability for where we are in our lives, right? But then if we're not where we want to be, we have to forgive ourselves for the decisions that we made, and try and figure out the way forward, because even if you stuck with that partner that was domestically abusing you, you allowed your baby's father to run around on you, you didn't make the best decisions, you dropped out of college or whatever. Forgive yourself, and then forgive the others that offend you. Now, when I say forgive, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be friends and you're going to sing kumbaya. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to let that shit go, because it's toxic, and you're holding it in there, and you're hurting the people that you actually do love, because the 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 regrets and the bad relationships and the decisions, the should have, could have, would have, are taking up space in your head that you could be expressing love. So first forgive yourself, and then forgive others that you feel like offended you. You can attempt to build a bridge if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to. But you have to be gracious enough, to extend forgiveness, because it's not for the other person. It's for you. Forgive yourself first, and then forgive the other people, and that's for you, so you can kind of close that chapter off and move, because nobody deserves to rent space in your head that isn't supporting you and your purpose.
And you can maybe agree with me on this, but on which will take us to our third bullet point in the G series is gallant. I mean, gallant. uh, you, it's bravery. It's heroic to forgive
Yeah.
somebody. It's heroic to forgive yourself. It's heroic to forgive just in general, because that's not always the easiest option.
No, you're 100% correct. It's not. In fact, I would argue that it's the hardest option. Because everybody has, everybody has this image of themselves, or what they're going to put up with, what they're not going to put up with, this, that, and the third. So when with forgiveness comes an element of vulnerability, right? Hey, you wronged me, and I shouldn't stand for this, but I understand that you're human too. It's about finding the humanality in like all situations. So it's kind of like that's kind of the bravest thing that you can do. Hey, look, you can have a conversation with yourself or the person that hurt you. Hey, look, you hurt me when you did X, Y, and Z, and that comes with vulnerability, and actually being vulnerable is probably the bravest thing that you can do for like anybody. So yeah, 100%. Like, but until all of that, the toxic stuff's out of the way, you can't be anybody else's hero if you can't save yourself.
That's 100% true. And we like vulnerability here on the Mind Buzz podcast. I've
We
had
love it at Grown Man Logic as well.
I've had several people on, and we on this subject of vulnerability. Vulnerability is some may think it's weakness, and you are dead wrong, whoever thinks about that. And because vulnerability is it's bravery. You have to put
Yeah.
yourself into a vulnerable state to to absorb uh, just anything in general, whether it be a new book, a new podcast series. You have to. Vulnerability comes so. I think about it, there's on and off switches that you can do, and I mean, I like to think of vulnerability as something that's a tool to use when you're learning something new. uh and most of this self-development stuff, you're learning stuff that you have never done, possibly, or even thought about. The concepts of self-development, you haven't even uh you don't there's not much that when somebody is first jumping into self-development, because a lot of people, and I spoke about this many episodes ago about self-development. And a lot of people think that self-development can be a little bit hokey, which means very, very kind of like, excuse my language for the LGBT community, but kind of gay, or kind of like happy. And by meaning gay, I mean very happy and very churchy, very very, I don't know, hokey in its own sense is a very weird word to use, because not many people use it anymore. It's a very old concept. But what I mean by self development, people think of. I mean, what do you think of self development?
I love self development. I
How?
think that
Well, let me rephrase the question. What did you think about self development before actually getting into self development? That's the right question.
mm, um I kind of didn't mind it. Um I used to not I used to think it was bullshit. If I'm being honest, and bullshit not in a sense that I took an aggressive tone towards it, but bullshit in a sense of like, okay, cool, like, all right, like if my friend would tell me, hey, look, I'm gonna go work on myself. All right, man, just go do that shit over there. Like, and then when somebody would ask me,
Yeah.
like, where's your boy? I don't know, man. He's on some bullshit, man. Let's go do this, right? Like,
Yeah.
kind of like, I'm saying, fugazi, as they say on the East Coast. Um, but I think that that's where we are, and I think that like the pandemic has been like a perfect time to kind of self-develop, become, because you had nothing, you had no other distractions really. You didn't have to go to work. You kind of just woke up and you were where you were going to be for the day because you couldn't do anything else. So I think that self-development is huge, huge, and between podcasts like like Mindbuzz, and podcasts like My Survivor Voice, and so salute to this young lady, the Manila Rose podcast. Like I love, 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 love her content. Um, because it's all like reflective, and it's all like it makes you take a look at yourself and be like, well, oh damn, like and once you do that, you start to become the better version of yourself. And for those of us that are out here, and we're trying to make a difference. You can't make a difference anywhere unless you're whole yourself. You can't be a hypocrite. You have to be happy, joyful, all these things that you're presenting to the public. You need to be that yourself because people can tell when it's disingenuous.
Oh yeah, you can
So,
hear it in
none,
voices, you can hear it in content. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and you can know, like, you know, if you see people jump on live, you listen to podcasts, and you're like, oh, this is bullshit, and you turn it off because you can tell when the person doesn't believe it. So, um, you don't reach that point in your life, that point of maturity, and that point of happiness, that point of being able to like pull other people up with you without self development. It is critical for the survival of minorities, not only in this country but across the world.
So before we hop into the what you just cracked open there, but no, actually let's hit that before, because that's something that I was listening to you, and there was this moment of thought that I was thinking about myself getting into self development, and that was I left. So I think like the tail end of 2013, 2014, I was hitting the books, and just the general self development stuff like Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those type of characters, which were very old concepts of self development. And I thought of one day I kind of like just had a realization of all these books that I picked up. They were all like written by older white males. And I was
Mm,
thinking about that. And don't get me wrong, the concepts work. They work 100% when you put your when you go full force. The concepts are great, right? But I just had this struggle, was that okay, I'm reading all these different, I'm reading these concepts, but I mean they work, but they didn't go, I guess, far enough, I guess, for me, because they weren't very relatable. Like, I'm not a religious person. One book that I wrote, that I read, was The Power of Positivity. Great,
mm,
great, great concepts by Norman Vincent Peale. Good, great, but he was a minister back in the 30s and 40s, and he wrote this book. Great concept, but a lot of the concepts in there had Bible verses, and you've anybody that listened to me, in the past, I have a very close upbringing with the Christian church, evangelical Christian church. So there was some part that did resonate with me because I understood where he was coming from a religious standpoint. But then I also got what he was trying to say on a self development part. So that was one thing. Was the race difference? I didn't really resonate as much as I could have with that, and on the religion thing, which kind of threw me off again too. But that didn't all matter at the time because I was taking these concepts and I was running with them. And there was that part, and I kind of had this. I stepped away from self development for years, for a very long time. I was on a really good path. Um, I was using these concepts and books like The Power of Positivity, like How to Win Friends and Influence People, like Napoleon Hill's How to Make Your Own Miracles, books
Mm.
like The Yes Attitude by Jeffrey Gitomer, The Little Red Sales book by Jeffrey Gitomer, like all these different books that I was studying. And when I say studying, I had highlighters with me all the time. I had my notebooks that I used to reference to, and I was studying this. I was studying myself. I was taking these concepts and all these books, and I was reflecting on how my personality would be. How do I treat others? How I should treat others. Um, taking these concepts from how to create your own miracles and how to create my own miracles within myself, and how to project them into reality and what I want my life direction to go to. And I stopped from all that, and I was on a really good path until I really thought about the authors that were writing this, and the relatability between myself and these books. And the reason why I bring that up was because you're doing this on a level, and there's probably other people of color that are coming out with these things. I mean, like I said, I haven't really dove too much in like the Hispanic community of writers and stuff. Like I haven't gotten there, but there's this one writer that I've been just pummeled in his stuff lately, and that's IC Robledo, and he's a psychologist, and he wrote all these different other books. I'm gonna put all these books that I talked about. I'm gonna put them at the show description because they're great. They're awesome.
Mm.
You can take the concepts and you can just run with them. They may not resonate with you, but that's the beauty of reading and working on yourself, is that you can take these concepts and apply them. Maybe not all of them, maybe just the ones that you want to, and cultivate the life that you
Do,
want. Right?
yeah, do you think that like people are hung up on whether or not the book resonated with them, right? Resignation is a feeling, right? So so even if you don't, if you're not a Christian, right? Let's start right there. If you're not a Christian, that's cool, but it doesn't change the fact that the lessons that the Bible teaches are highly effective, right? If and I'm circling back to your point, Gil, about when you were saying that there were ministers that wrote like these books, and that's true. I've read like a lot of the titles that you mentioned. The highly effective habits from Stephen A. Covey, like, just stuff like that. Like I've read these things,
Yeah.
and so to me it wasn't about the resignation. It was more about the information. But then it goes back to being genuine and being me. Okay, how can I apply this to my life?
Yeah.
How can I make it resonate with me? Right? Because the data is the data, the stats are the stats, and the principles are the principles, and people's behavior overall as a human being has not changed. So that means whether you're reading, The Art of War, or whether you're reading, 48 Laws of Power, or whether you're reading, Seven Highly Effective Habits of Successful People, whether you're reading, The Go Giver Sells More, whether you're reading like all of these books, human behavior really hasn't changed. So the principle works. I think that in today's society, we're too caught up on delivery. I think that we want things to make us feel good and to meet us where we are and to bring us up. But at the end of the day, the information is the information, and the old cliche rings true. To whom much is given, much is required. And if that's going to be the case, then, we can afford to have some hurt feelings for a measure of success. We can afford to have an attitude for, $1 million. We can afford to do these things because we have to get back to the thick skin, tough, gritty, America that we once were. Because right now, we're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle. We're trying to cancel Michael Myers over things that you're trying to cancel a comedian for telling jokes and the serial killer for killing people, like a fictitious serial killer, I might add. Right? We're running around like a bunch of bitches. Like if I'm being completely honest. Um, and when I say that, that's no disrespect to, like, your female listeners. That what I'm saying is we're running around like a bunch of sensitive, like, and it's turning us into assholes, man, because we want to cancel everybody that disagrees with us. So we want to lock ourselves in our echo chambers and stay inside of our epistemic bubbles, and we don't want to hear anything that disagrees. But where's the growth? Where's the change? Where is all of this stuff? It can't happen with the way that we're behaving. We have to have disagreement. We have to have uncomfortability. We have to have some accountability before we can have any form of growth in this country and the world.
Yeah, I hear you. Just like what we were talking about at the top of this, you need the shit you need the shit to happen before the shift can happen.
Yes.
I mean, even with that too, and when we're on the subject of there's a threshold and there's a tipping point in society. There's gonna be a tipping point to where people in the cancel culture are gonna say, okay, this is enough. Like, I mean, come on. Some people are already there with cancel culture and woke culture. Some people are there that are saying, okay, this is enough.
But
You
see,
just like you said, like you're trying to cancel a fictitious killer for killing and comedian Dave Chappelle for telling jokes. I mean,
listen,
there's
what do we
our tipping point. That was my tipping point, and me and Eric
what are
went
we
through
doing?
this was Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. Just like what Eric was saying, dude. What did Uncle Ben do? What did he do to you?
What are we doing? What are we doing? Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of like, okay, cool. I can get how that can be offensive to somebody. Okay, well, if you don't like it, just don't buy it, right? If if but what I don't like is that specifically, right? And we mentioned this on Monday, right? When we were talking about cancel culture tripping again over on the Grown Man Logic podcast. We mentioned this when we were talking about, hey, look, man, if why was Michael Myers killing a gay couple such a big deal? You're gonna cancel the Halloween series for him killing a gay couple instead of taking it as a win, right? Like, hey, look, gay rights have advanced to the point that they can be in horror movies, which are quote unquote the most manliest of man movies, right? Like gay couples. Why are we not taking this as a win?
Yeah.
And,
Oh
and
yeah.
if I'm and if I'm be, and truthfully speaking, if I'm being completely honest, that couple that was killed, that has got the LGBTQ community in an uproar, had more screen time than every black person that's ever appeared in a Halloween series combined.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah, come on, Gil, man.
Wait, hold on.
You listen to Grown Man Logic. You
Even
know what I'm about
even
the stats, man. You
even
know
with
Resurrection with Busta Rhymes, bro. Like they had more
even yeah, I was
time,
gonna
bro.
say even with LL Cool J and H2O Halloween.
Yeah, but see, he didn't make it through the whole movie. Okay,
That
so think
okay,
about
so
it,
hold
right?
on. Hold on. This is one thing I think that's where I picked up my phone when because you guys were talking about this. I'm like, oh my god, please let me listen to this because I want to write. I want to write a comment. I want to do something along the lines of, um, what film are we talking about? The Halloween Kills, the latest one.
Yeah, yeah. The latest Halloween, they're trying to
Okay,
cancel because
spoiler
Michael
alert,
Myers,
everybody. Spoiler alert: the
huh?
gay couple dies.
Well, Well, yeah, but everyone dies because we all know that the only person that Michael Myers intentionally sets out to kill is his sister, right? That's the only person he actually wants to kill.
Yeah.
Now, here's a point. Here's a point that I brought up on the podcast, right? Michael Myers or everybody that died in this latest Halloween film. Here's your spoiler alert right here. Everybody that dies in this film dies because they went to Michael Myers' house. Now, let's use that as a metaphor, right? Michael Myers was in that house minding his own fucking business, not bothering anybody. He was dormant.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you brought shit to his doorstep, until you started to mess up his house, that he started to act out. Now, what does that mean? In other words, mind your own business. Like you don't catch the wrath of people until you start bringing shit to their house.
Yeah, another thought that I was
That
thinking was that hold on, who died first? And I'm gonna be hold on, I'm gonna be hated for this one because who died first? Was it the black man or was it the gay couple?
the black man died first, as
Oh,
always.
there you go. See, everyone. See, that's the question I
But
wanted to pose on your guys' live.
yeah, but see, here's the thing, right? As like we don't view Michael Myers as racist, right? Like you know what I'm saying? Because we take it for what it is, and I think that we've lost that as a culture and as a society. I think that we've lost the fact that that people you need to suspend your belief. You need to suspend your political party. You need to suspend your belief on abortions. You need to suspend your religion, and just go out and enjoy the fucking movie. What's the matter with
Yeah.
you?
Well, dude, that's a
Like,
part of that. Since we're on the subject, that's a part of vulnerability. People don't want to let their guard down because of a movie, and everybody has a voice now. Everybody has that's the thing with social media and Yelp, and everybody has a voice that they're going to use on the internet, and something that doesn't even exist. Does it really exist? Can we hold the internet? Can we give it a hug? Can we kiss the internet without putting our lips on the screen? No, we can't. We cannot. Why are we like this?
exactly. What happened?
Why are we like
That's the
this?
point, right? why why are we here anymore? Right? Like you understand what I'm saying? Like because we've what have we done? We've successfully increased the minority divorce rate to over 80%, right? No, over 61%. I'm sorry, and you know what I'm saying. We've successfully done that, creating single family homes, which leaves women to raise men, which creates more sensitive men, which then voice their opinions on social media, regardless if they're right or wrong. That's what we've done. Like we did that,
Yeah.
right? Whether it was marketing for, cheaper labor, whatever the fact, we've done that, right? And a grown man logic, that's what we're trying to build the way back to men being men and women being women, and we're not defining these terms, right? Whatever that means to you,
Okay.
but we have to do better.
Yeah.
We have to be better than what we are right now. We're at a point where you should be looking for a job. Instead, you're on Twitter on an Obamacare phone that you pay $15 a month for, bashing and calling for the cancellation of an equal opportunity fictional serial killer. How ridiculous is that?
I like how you threw the EO thing in there.
Listen, man, Michael Myers, like I said, man, the only person he actually wants to kill is his sister.
Yeah, true.
Everybody else is just collateral damage.
Yeah.
They were fucking with him, you know?
Yeah. Don't go knocking on the boogeyman's door, because if you do, something's gonna happen. What did you think that was gonna happen? He was gonna open the door with open arms, that he was gonna come and make you fucking cookies? No. No.
he had an apple pie waiting.
Yeah, exactly. It just came out of the oven.
Christ.
I could imagine Michael Myers right now with a pink or blue or purple, whatever the fuck, because colors are now our thing. But He was wearing an apron. Let's say that he was wearing an apron, and he had like a bow on, and he just got done doing his hair, dyeing his hair or whatever, and he looked nice. I mean, I picture my Michael Myers serving me apple pie during Halloween. Maybe not apple pie, maybe a warm pumpkin pie, because it's Halloween and he's waiting to kill you, all your assholes. I don't know.
Maybe Michael Myers met up with Hannibal Lecter and he serves you apple pie and some fava beans.
Yeah, come on, man. Think
What
about
are we
that.
talking about right
Yeah.
now, man?
But I mean, other than that, other than all these serial killers making us a nice Halloween dinner, but being
Yeah.
gallant, so being genuine, being gracious, being gallant, being giving, and what were the other three? Because now I'm excited because I'm learning something new on this podcast live along with everybody else. So go ahead, go through the last three that I missed.
All right. So the last three are goal oriented, grateful, and good. So good comes out tomorrow, actually. Well, we're recording this on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So
And it'll be up live on Tuesday. So I'm gonna throw the
sweet.
links. I'm throwing the links down at the show notes. But after this very special
Sweet.
presentation, jump down to the latest one coming up from Dejuan.
Yeah, so good comes out tomorrow, and then on Sunday, goal oriented comes out, and then the following Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, grateful comes out, which is probably the cornerstone to it all. And yeah, man, we just get into the 7 Gs, man, and the 7 Gs, or what you're gonna start hearing me refer to as the G7 man, is what you're gonna start hearing me refer to it as. Possessing these things it puts you in the best position to receive the most desirable outcomes for you, right? If you have these 7 things, you'll be in the room where conversation happens. You'll be in positions with your bosses. You'll be in positions with women. You'll be in positions with business opportunities, if that's your thing. If you have these 7 things and you master these 7 things, I personally guarantee you that you will be in a position to receive 90% of your desirable outcomes, at least 90%.
That's a stretch, but they
No,
work,
I
right?
don't think it is, man.
Okay. All right.
Listen, I don't think it is, because I'm living proof. I was the field test of these 7 Gs.
Ooh. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? So
I
like
got
I went
you. Yeah.
from so the G7 book is going to come out, and then next year around the summer you're gonna hear I'm gonna release another book entitled Grown Man Logic: The Art of Applying Pressure. And
Ooh,
you're gonna
snap. Hold on, kid. Damn, that was a fucking bomb, dude. Fucking badass title. I'm naming that fucking most badass title of a book right now. Badass.
Thank you, sir. But in that book is like it's almost like a memoir where I tell you from, I take you from the place where I was, a liar, a cheater, I was bad with money, and I was literally on the verge of suicide, to where I am now, where you know what I mean, actor, model, poet, you name it, father, husband. I take you from there to there, right? And I tell you, and I teach you like the lessons that I learned and how I actually learned these lessons, right? So you're kind of getting the books like out of order, right? You have the book Dear Dominic that's out right now on Amazon.com. You have the G7 series that'll be out around spring, and you'll have Grown Man Logic: The Art of Applying Pressure that comes out, right? And I'm talking about and I'm talking about like these sorts of things like in there, man. Right. So like what I'm saying is, Grown Man Logic, the art of applying pressure is going to be the backstory to the G7 series.
Okay. Oh, I love
It's
that.
gonna
Okay, cool. Yes,
so yeah, yeah. So
I dig it.
I've lived it. So like it works. Now, not only that, but I've like in my life coaching business, I've given the same advice that I'm putting in this book to like several clients, and it's also worked. So like I'm guaranteeing 90% of the desired outcomes will come. There's 10% for error, operator error, user error. The variable that we can't obviously account for, right? But I'm guaranteeing 90% of the desired outcomes that you have once you master these 7 Gs.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, it's not a stretch, and Dejuan just explained how it's not a stress. So, thanks for that, because that's the book title. Like I said, I almost jumped out of my chair when I first heard that. Everything else, uh, your latest shows are going to be down at the show notes, but take a minute because we're running out of time now. Take a minute and go ahead and tell us where we can find Grown Man Logic and all your other cool stuff that you're working
Grown
on.
Man Logic podcast on all social media platforms as YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Grown Man Logic podcast. You type that in, you find us. We go live from my personal page, actually, Dejuan O'Neal 1, DEJUAN ONEAL, the number 1 on Instagram. That's where we go live from. We actually have a TikTok that we don't use, but it's available. We're also available on Facebook, Grown Man Logic podcast. That's pretty much where you can find us. Please pick up a copy of Dear Dominic, available right now on Amazon.com. And for your personal reference, I don't see a dime of that money. That money goes directly to Dominic's 529 plan, which sends him to college. So please pick that up. As you guys can hear, I'm all about the motivational and the inspirational. So that book, Dear Dominic, is written to the 18-year-old version of my now 1-year-old son. So any teenagers you got growing up, like give it to them. Talk about it with them. It's a manual on how to be a decent human being, because I'm tired of people saying there was no book for it, there's no manual for it. Yes, there is. Dear Dominic, available on Amazon.com. Please, this glass that I've been drinking out of all night long. I know you do visuals, Gil, sometimes.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely doing them now. Yes.
This glass that I've been drinking out of all night is a Grown Man Logic glass, along with T-shirts and female jammies, is available at shopgrownmanlogicpod.com. Shopgrownmanlogicpod.com. And yeah, man, hit us up, man. Let us know how we're doing.
Cool, and all the links to Dejuan's projects are going to be down at the show notes. So after this, go and check out Dejuan's G series over there on the Grown Man Logic YouTube right after this. So I guess that was another one. Dejuan, thanks again for being here again, and that first recording is gonna come up somewhere in podcasting history that will say, well, this is a lost. I'm gonna have plenty of lost tapes of this podcast. But Dejuan, thanks again for your time and your effort and what you're doing over there at Grown Man Logic. I'm telling you, I'm great that I got to sit down with you and we can talk again, because you're doing great things. I'm glad that I can have you on at this point in time before you blow up and we see you everywhere else besides the little guys like us. So again,
stop it! You'll probably blow up before me. And thank you for having me on. It's humbling. I'm such a fan of this show. Thank you so much.
But that's again, dude, because we're both helping each other along the way. And that's all you need. You need community. Everybody needs community, especially in podcasting world. But
yeah,
Dejuan, before we jump on another rant, thanks again for being here. That's another one, guys. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.
The Mindbuzz Podcast.